Hey everyone, we're the Bears and Bastards of the Villains Man, bringing you session 27 of our D&D 5th edition game, The Ancient War Reborn, which has gone on for a very long time today.
Yeah.
So we're here at Hughes Comics and Games in Dexter, Missouri. If you want, check them out on Facebook, but I'm your DM, JVD.
And I am Evan the Great of the Villains Band. I am playing yours truly, the Elven Bard, Lose a Silver String. She's now a Bard / Paladin of Bahamut. And I carry this. And if you want to check us out on Facebook and YouTube.
I'm the Bearded Wonder with the Villains Demand, and I'm playing Vesper North, the Moon Elf Rogue.
I am Smiley of the Villains Demand, playing Orrid Whitehammer, crafter extraordinaire.
So I guess it's only right that Evan the Great gives us a recap on the last session of this very long day.
Alright. So, on the last...
It's not that long.
Well, we're right where we usually quit.
Yeah.
I still have him and Vesper.
It is long.
Well, both
Alright.
usually, but whatever.
So we are, we go to the council and our plan does not go through. I don't know if that's where anyway. Our plan does not go through. They do not like the idea of us getting the primordial to the fire giant to build this weapon to fight Tiamat with. So we go to our rooms, we're trying to figure out ideals of what to do and how to stop this. And we get a knock on our door. Before us stands the lady we've seen stand beside the Silver Hand, named Leia, and she is the advocate of the Silver Hand. And she tells us that she has seen what we all done and she believes in what we do, and if we follow her, then we can maybe get some things in motion that will help this. She tells me that she would take me to the east to go to the Nether Mountains, and Orrid is to go visit King Bruenor. And Vesper has something going on too, but it's kind of a different thing. So my venture allows us to go into the Nether Mountains. Well, we run for like 1.5 miles outside the city, and she's looking around, and I'm like, what are you scared of? Turns out she's not scared of nothing. She turns into a freaking silver dragon. Freaks me the hell out, but I've seen the silver dragon before. It's what the dwarfs rode on to help us fight the storm cloud giant. Yeah, cloud giant. And she tells me her name is Alteri, and she's a silver dragon, good aligned, and we talk for 2 days as we fly to the Nether Mountains. There she says I am going to be in a council of dragons, which kind of scares me, but at the same time it's something my character would want to do. She would want to spread her word and try to get people to join us to help us. All these dragons are to be persuaded in one way or another, kind of, or just like what's going on in general. So besides her, there's other dragons there. There is a big, huge gold dragon. There's a bronze dragon. Is there two brass dragon?
No, there's one of each kind of dragon.
Yeah, brass dragon and a copper dragon. Out of all those, the biggest one is the gold dragon. Almost takes up the sun itself. Sorry. And then out of all the dragons, it is you just watch a video. It's a series of me trying to get them to join us. Why should they join us? In the end, I wind up getting a new deity, which I've always looked forward to, is Bahamut, because he has almost chosen me to be the little people for the dragons, the talker, and the one.
You're the worm speaker of the metallic dragons.
There you go. To rise my shield against Tiamat, if need be. I've befriended all these dragons, and it was an epic session, and you should watch it.
Alright, with that being said,
That's the longest one ever, I think.
that was pretty long.
I'm sorry.
Like, I was just like, wow, that's like, I think about 3 minutes.
I was super pumped.
Yeah, no, I know, it's good. I'm glad you are. So we move on to Orrid. You leave with all haste to the north gate.
Before I leave, I do give each of the former slaves 100 gold so they can purchase passage back to their homes.
Okay, fair enough.
I thank them for coming.
Was the slaves with you guys when Aaliyah had come in, or did you have them somewhere
I
else?
figured they were gone by then.
I don't know. I've heard they'd be in the safe house.
Okay.
I don't know if they'd actually be in the room.
Well, they would be in the safe house. I just didn't know if you had them in the room with you. But you give them the gold, tell them to go about their merry way.
Yeah.
All right. So you make all haste north gate. Once you're there is basically a caravan consisting of 5 wagons. The front of the wagon is all armed by humans, the front 2. The back 3 are all dwarven made and are armed and guarded by dwarves. As you approach, one of the dwarves opens up the 4th cart in line. He says, as you approach,
Methinks, good sir.
he says, Queens apologize. They ride by themselves.
No apology necessary.
He nods, closes the door as you enter. It's very well furnished in dwarven. It's made for a dwarf. You look, mead, good dwarven food, but you're the only one here.
Yeah. We'll have Archimedes.
So,
It's Snurt, maybe?
do you bring them?
Well, Archimedes is my little bird buddy. It's
Well,
on my
did you
shoulder.
summon him?
Yeah.
Do you bring Snurt?
I asked Vesper to take care of Snurt while I'm gone.
Here we go.
I'm not stopping you from bringing Snurt. I'm asking you.
Start coming in the room.
Depending on what she says, whether or not he's with me.
But you know she's got mommy time.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to leave him by himself.
Well, he's not if he's with you.
I think it's best you take him with you.
Alright.
So you take Snurt with
Yes.
you. The dwarf kind of watches him oddly climbing the wagon.
He gives like a dwarven greeting of thanks back to him.
Shakes his head. Sarah asks, where are we going?
To Gauntlgrym. We fell.
He just kind of looks at you like he doesn't understand.
It's the home of the dwarves.
He,
Where we came
he
from.
looks at you really wide-eyed with a bit of fear on his face.
Let nothing happen to you, friend.
And he kind of like holds his head down like he's very unsure. Like he's kind of scared.
Just remember what I taught you.
And he kind of nods his head very like waggly.
Yeah.
It's a very long trip. Every couple hours, you know, you'll hear a boom, boom, boom. You were right in there.
Hey, all's fine.
It's just dwarves not being settled about anything, you know. Not a very smooth ride. As you go north towards Neverwinter, towards the cavern entrance to Gauntlgrym, the snows become thicker. But you do have a small hearth that is built into this place. And
I'm using the mix of forge and shit.
try to do what you can to it. But within 10 days, you stop by Neverwinter. One of the dwarves tells you, you know, we have to drop off Lord Neverember. Good riddance.
A bit of a stick up that one.
So we all are. You drop him off, you head to Gauntlgrym. As you arrive to the gates of Gauntlgrym, the door opens, dwarf escorts you out. And both twin queens stand there. And
Bow cordially.
they kind of nod their heads. And they're not really scrutinizing you as they look, but you could tell they're very unsure of why you're even here.
I'm not sure why I'm here. I was told that I don't know.
Malabirchus tells you Aaliyah thinks very highly of you, and she has asked us to give you safe patches here so you may talk to the king.
Methinks.
Talbert speaks up. We do not approve of you taking the primordial. The primordial means much to the whole city.
To be honest, I don't approve. I feel it's necessary.
She's like, and that is why she's asked us to bring you here. She feels a council with the king, with one of his own who has experienced what is going on, may sway everybody.
Aye.
So, the gates to Gauntlgrym opened up. And as they do, it's very slow, very quiet. It starts to raise as you hear them chants in your head as you step 1 foot through the gate.
Oh, if I start going like underground, it's more along the lines I'm reliving the tunnels.
Well, you don't relive that here. Not in Dwarfhole. You're underground. Gauntlgrym's underground.
Yeah.
But you feel at ease. You hear this chant in your head. You can't make out the language. But as you're walking, you're behind the queens. One of them turns, Malrich says, "Do you hear it?" And the other one turns around, "Do you feel it?"
Hey, something. I do not know what.
It's the blood of your ancestors.
To be honest, since Felba, the dark of the depot is unnerved me. I can still hear the screams every time I enter.
She says, "There is no place for that here. This is Dwarfhole." She says, "Be at ease." She's like, "If you hear it, it's a calling. You're meant to be here."
I'm just a blacksmith.
She says, "And this is a dwarf blacksmith's home." Then Malrich turns around, "Wait till you see the forge. All dwarves cannot come to Gauntlgrym without seeing the forge. Maybe then you'll understand."
Hey.
So they take you through what is known as the Vault of Kings. It's large enough to enclose a small town. This high ceiling chamber rises above a network of bridges, stone towers, and sturdy walls carved from rock and sheathed in iron mithril. Dozens of small chambers lead out from the Vault of Kings, including sprawling residential areas not filled by occupants. And as they kind of tell you that these are empty, they assure you soon all of Dwarfkind will answer the call, and they will all have a home in Gauntlgrym. This is King Bruenor's wish.
My father would have loved to see this.
She said, "And it is a shame that not all dwarves will, but in time, all dwarves on the face of Toril will step in." She takes you through the Vault of Kings, and they take you through the Iron Tabernacle. She tells you, "This is the spirit and heart of Gauntlgrym." She says, "It's more than just a temple." As you look around, you see great statues of all the dwarven gods around you. She said, as you look, this place is larger than a lot of towns on the surface.
Yeah.
This place could easily hold all of Neverwinter if it wanted to, and still have room. The tales you've heard of Gauntlgrym as a young dwarf do not live up to what you see. This place is beyond amazing. It's beyond belief. But for some reason, you always knew that'd be true. Yeah. You hear the voices chant, and it just continues to fill your ears, and it soothes you. And you feel like everything you held on to, all the grudges, all the pain you held on to, that you feel here, you can release it and be at ease. Let me pull this timer up here. Right on 420, oddly enough. Here, dozens upon hundreds of dwarves fill the streets. None of them offer anything to sell. It's all friendly trade. Everyone here is treated as a family. And they take you to the Iron Throne of Morden. As you pass through here, sarcophagi mark the walls. Each one of them marked with a dwarven name. Its home, where it was from, its age, its great deeds, what mark it left on this world. And as you go through, they will tell you this. There are statues for great dwarven kings that fell during the War of the Silver Marches, and you look upon the king of Felbar, and you know that he is gone. He fell fighting this place, protecting this place, trying to take it over. And as you look forward, sitting on a lone throne, is King Bruenor Battlehammer. And they stop, and you're about 100 feet from this throne.
I kneel where I'm at.
And you hear, "Boy, there is no need for such a thing. You're one here. Come."
I sometimes wonder, my king,
What is there to wonder?
is this really my own home, or do I even really belong here?
All dwarfs belong here.
And possibly the least dwarf ever be dwarf.
He says, "You say this, yet I defend a drow."
I've died with giants.
Exactly. And I've rode on chariots of fire.
I have an assistant that's a goblin.
And he says, "And I once had a friend that was one."
And alas, my god is Ogma.
He says, "It means nothing to me." He says, "Sit," and he gets up, "and let the dwarven gods decide." And he tells you, "Do not know if you're worthy. The gods, Morden, Dumathoin, Silverbeard, let them judge you. Do not be so harsh and judge yourself."
I have. It was my own weapons that raised me home and greatest. Their blood, my friends, my best friend, Perry's blood is on my hands. I cannot.
Says, "Being the king of dwarves, do not ask me to order you."
I nod and I step up.
You step up, you sit down, and though the throne shakes, it doesn't. You realize that this is the way your body feels. Your mind opens up. And the dwarven gods stare down upon you. And you feel like the chair wants to throw you, but it doesn't. You feel your mind become empty. You become at peace with yourself. And you realize this is what you want. And these chants that you hear, you understand them. It's the ancient language of the dwarves. And you understand that it's all praise to the gods. Be one with the gods. Be one as a people. And come to understand what your gods want. And you open your eyes, and Bruenor smiles. And he says, "Whoa. Unlike the first time sitting on the chair, did not throw you 50 feet. And he says, "See, boy, I told you. The gods understand." And he has a shield in his hand, and you've seen one, with a foam mug. And from it he says, "Drink, a gift from the gods."
Methinks I may need another.
And he says, "I have an endless supply." And he takes a drink.
Truly the
And he
gods
laughs.
have blessed you.
You take a drink, and it is the best dwarven ale you've ever had in your life. And I mean, you just, and you look down, and he's smiling. And he throws his down, and he reaches out behind his shield, and he hands you another.
I take it. Postpondo the same.
And he says, "I'll drink to that."
Aye.
And he throws back another, and he says, "Now come, let's explore Dwarf Home. Dwarf of the Delzoon, you are one. Tell me, why are you here?"
Nothing good, I'm afraid.
He says, "Nothing good comes from the world above. But sometimes we must be one with them and accept."
I came here to ask for something I do not want to ask for, because I know what it may mean.
And he looks at you, like, explain.
What do you know of the rise of Tiamat?
Says, only what my wives have told me. The Dragon Queen comes. It is not the first time I have prevented an evil god from rising. I know such things.
Aye. We have been fighting her from greenest to the eye of an arm.
The giant gods.
Aye, we've spoke to Anon himself.
You are like myself. You're an odd for you. You deal with those that most of dwarves would look down upon, would wage war against. We have much in common.
That is at least 3 of Johnkind, Atkanta's friend. One is no longer with us.
He tells you he is sorry for your loss.
Shafnar was a good man.
Says, but, says, do not let such things disparage you. Says, I have learned from life that once you are gone, there is always a way to return. Says, you speak earlier of how you don't follow the dwarven gods, yet they look on you. I have experienced this myself. As I died, putting the primordial that runs this place back in its home. He said, and I was angry for my friend, his god that looked over him, Maliki, had put me and the rest of my family in a plane of existence for what seemed like days that we were wrong. It was over 100 years. And I was so mad at Morden for not giving me my rest. But he had other plans for me, and it was to pull my friend from the darkness and to come set things right. And I'm sure you know of the war in the Silver Marches.
Aye.
And that was the
First
goal.
time I lost.
I'm sorry. Belbar
Aye.
says, I only wish we could have got out of Mithril Hall faster.
Your Paul was kind when we entered in our retreat.
He says, I'm sorry for your loss. He's like, but this is a different time. You can make up for such things.
I'd give anything to...
He says, please tell me, what do you fear to tell me?
We have a weapon that can kill a god.
He says, as good as me axe. And he pulls it out. It's this old axe and it's got all these notches on it.
Think of it as an axe that's about 40 feet wide with an arm to wield it.
His eyes get really big.
Made us all adamantine through.
His eyes get even bigger.
Patrolled by a fire giant.
And then he looks at him. Like you completely disappointed him.
You lost him.
Yeah, and all that.
The only thing I've seen so far that I feel that can stop this. It pains me to say this. I haven't with the others, but I don't want it to be. I wanted it to be us.
And he says, in times of war, you don't always get what you want.
Not for any honorable reason, but because the pain they gave me. I still see her face. It comes and goes. When I get done, I actually send her messages just to harass her.
He says, do you feel that you'll see her again?
Oh, I know it.
Then focus on that.
It's what keeps it going most nights in the forge.
He says, I know many like you. You'll fit in well.
Aye.
He says, now come, tell me more of this machine, this fire giant. As you're going,
Yeah.
and he just keeps handing you
Yeah.
L.
Oh, I'm
the
drinking
shield,
fast as shit.
and it is so great.
Yeah.
All the dwarves look at you like they know that you're accepted, and they all smile, and they all offer us Oz and whatnot.
I'll return it, but it's a bit more grim.
So, but that That doesn't, you know,
Yeah, no, it's
not
just-
to them it doesn't affect them because they know this is dwarf home.
Yeah, no, it's just more along the lines of I'm dreading what I'm having to
Yeah.
ask.
And he can tell in your eyes that you're about to ask him something.
And I don't want to ask him. I
But
don't
he's
want
waiting.
To preface, the fire giant requesting Luxotto has shown us nothing but courtesy and a desire for peace. I cannot guarantee that. I cannot promise that. I do not know. Giant kind is alien to me. They're bigger. Their minds think differently than the smaller folk. But in order to power the machine, he needs to make the heart in the forge powered by Megara.
And he just looks at you like, what? Like he drops his bug.
The exact thing he was asking was to borrow the Titan to fuel his forge to make the heart. On the way over here, I was thinking, why couldn't he just make it here? Have our people make the heart.
Tells you our people would find allowing a giant in Gauntlgrym disgraceful.
No. We forge it.
I do not see a fire giant allowing such a thing to happen.
That's the problem I've been facing with everywhere I go. Everyone wants to take, no one wants to give. It's sickening.
How do you plan on taking it there?
He gave me a mind flask.
He says, who needs a flask? He hands you another drink.
I take it, not that kind of flask. It's an artifact. It
To
can
trap the beast.
Aye,
Much like its home.
aye. He promises to return it when he's done, but I do not know. He seems sincere, but
He tells you, let me tell you a story about a certain drow elf. And as you're walking, you're going through this iron tabernacle, and like I said, everybody realizes that you have been accepted, that you have sat on the throne. And he goes to tell you about Dritz Duard. You know enough about Dritz Duard and how, you know, oh, no one trusts a drow, but this guy was like, hey, you're cool, you know, now we're buddies, we're bros, fist bumps. Tells you about all this. He says, you know, just because you seem different and there is hatred from other races towards your race, does not mean that you cannot be trusted.
I'm not.
And when he does this, he points to Snurt.
Yeah.
And he says, all it takes is understanding. He looks at Snurt and he says, accept an apology. And he pulls a mug and he hands it to him.
Has spent about as much time on my jug as I have.
So, he says, do you understand? All it takes is understanding.
Aye.
He says, come, let me take you to the Great Forge.
I would love to see it.
Maybe then you can understand the beast. Maybe then you can understand why he needs it. So you go through, and then you honestly feel like you're at home. It's the ringing of hammers.
As we walk,
On
I tell him
average.
that Zalto has given up his slaves in exchange for me making a replacement.
And he'll tell you, dealing with drow, that is a big step towards peace. The drow favor slaves and would never let them go. He's like, for an evil creature such as a giant to do such a thing, so shows a tone of seriousness that should be taken seriously.
Honestly, I feel we need the giants just to deal with the dragons while the smarter folk deal with the cultists.
Tells you, though I would not want to ally myself with giants, I have fought many. I have seen what they can do, and it would not be a bad idea to have them on our side.
I should introduce you to Hofstein.
Maybe,
He's a good man.
maybe in time.
He's at the court of Hikaton, whom is missing right now.
He doesn't know who Pikaton is.
The king of stone giants. Before the order being shattered, he was the top of it all.
Says, the queens have told me of the order being shattering.
Yes.
Do you feel that this is this Zalto's plan to set atop the ordering?
Oh, I guarantee it.
Do you think
He
he would
has no
make a
such plan.
change?
I'd like to hope so. He's the only giant to welcome smaller folk openly. Not to try to subjugate us, but treated us as a form of equal. Maybe not entirely, but...
So you head down to the Great Forge. Like I said, it's music to your ears. There's a chant rolling through that everybody at the forge is singing. And everybody, though, their hammer never leaves. They never miss strike. They will offer you a nod as you go through. And I mean, it's just everywhere. All these forges. Every dwarf has a personal forge to themselves. And everyone looks content. They look happy, satisfied. He tells you, this is just a small area. He says, come. He's like, I will show you where we forge weapons with the beast. And he takes you down to another level, and you can feel the magic in this place as you enter it. He says, many great things have come from this forge. He tells you, my daughter forged her husband a sword made of two. Made them as one. Quite a great weapon. What did you say?
I thought that was
So, yeah, tells you, would you care to try?
Aye. That's something I've been working on.
So you will have the opportunity. You continue down, you find this cave, and you can feel the heat radiating from it. And he tells you, you will need this. From his pouch, he pulls a ring. And it looks much like one of the rings that the giant had. It says, to protect you.
Take it.
And
Slide on.
when you walk on, you still feel the heat. It's this intense. And you look over, and it's all steam as you turn the corner of this cave. When you walk in through the steam, there's a cavern. And it's huge. And you look down, and there's a swirling pit of lava. You can't believe what you're looking at, but it looks like a giant molten eye stares back up at you. He says, Bagheera, what fires the forges, what brings the host tower to life. You realize now what you're asking?
I know what I was asking, but it is a sight.
He says, you do not understand the sight. I have seen what the beast will do if freed. He says, this flask, yes, you should be scared. This flask, I hope, could do the trick. You see, and he starts toward the spots around in this cavern, the water. Elementals to help soothe the beast's rage. Ancient magic rules this. Ancient magic is what holds it at its bay. And you come with a flask. And he kind of laughs.
To be fair, it is quite a shiny flask.
And he says, probably better to hold the liquor. He says, you realize now what you're truly asking. Do you realize how important this thing is?
Aye.
He says, now come. You've laid eyes on the beast. Now feel its power. He takes you back to the forge. And he steps back and he motions towards you.
I'll pull out what I've been working on.
That.
Yeah.
And he looks at it and he's very impressed by it. He says, did you do this yourself?
It's half done.
No, the beast.
Oh yeah, me and my friends. It was a great battle. I'd never seen rodents run so fast. It was hilarious.
He kind of laughs. He's like, faced a dragon myself once.
This was our third, the biggest by far.
He said, you've been to Mithril Hall. You've seen how deep the caverns are.
Yes.
I set it in myself on fire and rolled the beast to the bottom.
I would swallow the remoras because I swallowed my friend.
So, it says,
Nothing quite the
it
same.
says, and then when I thought I was done with fire and everyone left me for dead, was given a fiery chariot by the lady, a silvery moon, to find my friends.
I've always wanted to go there.
So, it's a wondrous place, but not meant for a dwarf. It says, please. It says, go. It says, let the magic run through your hammer.
I take out my tools and start working the only ways I know how.
So, and he sits and he watches you intently.
Like I have my own chant that I sing that's like it's part nonsense, part of like a ritual chant that I saw when I was first being taught magic when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
It's just help me focus.
You're sitting there and you're starting to build this thing.
Yeah.
And as every time you look over, there's another mug there.
Yeah, I take it. Snurr spraying me like random tools and stuff out of my bag.
That's fine. And he sits there and helps you. You seem like you're there for mere moments. You turn around and there's all these empty mugs. You didn't even realize that Snurr is passed out. He's got a mug behind his head. And what you think has been moments has been hours. And you do not feel the least bit tired. And all you hear is the chanting in your head, much like when you stayed up for hours forging vigilance. And you feel that moment, and you feel that it was all meant to lead you here. You go back to forging the sword, and you're done. Bruenor walks up to you, rubbing sleep out of his eye. 14 hours.
Is that how long it's been?
He said, it's the power of the forge. You don't feel it. You don't feel tired. You don't feel the passage of time.
Hey,
And he says,
do you like it?
he says, it's beautiful.
Hey.
He says, and what of the bear?
You haven't seen me bad.
He says, I haven't. He kind of looks up. But the gods speak.
Oh, you're going like the bad.
He says, put it in the forge.
But it's my son.
He says, all dwarves are born of the forge. Why not your son?
I open up my bag and call for Rupert.
So when this bear, he just steps back a little. Like he didn't expect, a mechanical looking bear to come out. And he says, as much as it may pain you, take your son apart. Put him in the forge. Fill the thing full of the primordial's magic.
I start doing that.
And you start,
Piece by piece, slowly.
and he kind of smiles and he takes his leave. Next thing you know, minutes pass by and Snurt's like, you look down and there's Snurt watching you. And you just keep hammering away piece by piece, putting Rupert back together, and you could feel the magic of this primordial just coursing through you, coursing through every piece, every cog, every rod that you put in there. And you feel at home the entire time. You feel like you could do this forever.
That would honestly be a worst dream, just to stand at a forge forever.
And you feel at this time that you could do such a thing. And you keep hammering it out and hammering it out. Next thing you know, another 10 hours come by. And Bruno says, he walks back up, you ever want to sleep?
Sleep never came easy to me, my friend.
And he says, carry on. Snurt's back asleep as you continue to hammer out the bear. Then you get an idea. What about this armor? You pull it out, and you start on it. And how many seats were you making? 3?
Yeah.
Is it 3 now? There's 3?
I guess it'll be 2 now.
So you're gonna keep wearing what you got?
Yeah.
Okay?
What I wear is based on a promise.
Okay. So you start to hammer out this suit of armor, one after another, and the next thing you know, when Bruenor speaks to you, you've been here for almost 4 days.
Damn, you're already back.
And after when you're done, you're kind of looking at what you've built and whatnot, and all these dwarves in the forest are just watching you. All of them have smiles on their face because you turn around to see them, and they all have a mug, and they salute you. And Bruenor walks up and pulls one and hands it.
I down it.
And they all do it at the same time. And he says, "You spoke of how everyone wanted to take. Let me be the first to give. You can take the primordial. I trust you."
Tears, literal tears well into Orrid's eyes.
He says, "But you warn this Salto. If he does not bring it back, I will kill him myself."
I might beat you to it.
And then all the dwarves say, "Hey!"
I very cautiously, I kneel, I full on kneel.
And he says, "There is no need for such a thing."
Truly, you are a just and deserving king.
He says, "And truly, you are a worthy dwarf." He says, "Come, let us take your flask and fill it with the power of a god."